Okay, today I'm working on a 22 horsepower overhead valve intake engine, and the symptom is, even with the new battery, it does not like to turn over. So I'm going to try to find out why that is. I'll show you what it's doing. It just turns and then stops. So there's a couple reasons. That could be a weak starter, bad connection on the battery, high resistance in the starting system, including the starter solenoid. But what I'm suspecting, the way it stops dead like that, is that the valves are out of adjustment. So that's what I'm going to do first, because quite frankly it's the easiest thing to do. These Briggs have very easy access. This is the cap here we'll have to get into, and that is the cap there we'll have to get into. I suspect this engine's been played with before, because this one, whether you can read that or not, is upside down. So somebody's probably been in there before, unless Craftsman just uses that. This is a Craftsman. Unless the Craftsman just does that to hide the fact that it's a Briggs, although they do say it's a Briggs right there. So most likely somebody's been in here and just played with it before. So we'll go in and do a valve adjustment. Alright, I'm just going to take the fasteners off. On this one they're 3/8 of an inch. Couple drips of oil. We'll just put the cover under there to prevent that from coming out while we're working on it. I don't want those up there. Now I'm going to turn the engine till it gets on the stroke where they're not being lifted. You'll see them go up and down. Well, maybe not in the camera so well, but by hand you can see them. By eye, there it goes. One goes down. Intake goes down. And anywhere in there they should have, yeah, see, this one's real tight. This one's loose. Let me go a little more to make sure. Okay, there we are. We're fully loose. Fully loose. If you rock your engine back and forth, which is what I'm doing now, you shouldn't see them move at all. So, right there. I take that back. One other way you could do it is look in there, see when it's at top dead center. It's really not necessary. You can tell if those valves are going to move or not. That one is crazy tight. Let me turn this over a couple more times. Okay, so the specification, I just looked it up on mine, is 5 thousandths, 4,000 to 6,000. So I'll just aim for 5, and as long as that's in the realm, we'll be just fine. When I first checked it, it was just flopping in the wind. This bolt here is a Torx T40. That's the lock, or that's the adjuster, and then the lock on the outside is ½ inch, which for some reason my ½ inch barely fits, and it's not metric, and don't ask me what really size it is, but so you would make your adjustments in and out here and then lock it with the other one. A lot of engines it's the opposite, where the inside piece is the lock. So you can see right now we got good clearance. It's going in and out nice and easy. That's too much. So we'll just do a little adjusting here and see where we go. Right about there. If I could get it locked, would be fine. A lot of this is trial and error. As you go to lock that, the adjustment will move somewhat. I'm actually trying to make it turn a little as I'm locking it because I need a little more. That's about right for that one. Good. Now if I could get this, I just want to double check that tightness. Double check the clearance to make sure I didn't move it. That's just about perfect. And all this has to be done while the valves aren't in action. You can't just adjust these whenever you want. You have to spin your engine, make sure they're not in the position where the valves are being pushed, where the push rods are trying to open the valves. If you did that, you'd be making a mistake. Some people say it has to be top dead center, it has to be this, it has to be that. Just make sure the valves aren't in motion. That's the main thing. Make sure they're all the way down, or the push rods are all the way in their happy place. If I could get it to lock right there, that would be just about perfect. Too loose. That's pretty close. Let's see if I can get it to tighten right there. Not bad. Let's leave it at that. And then a gasket like this, I'm pretty lucky. This one came off complete. So I don't even know if I'll put any gasket sealer on there because it's pretty much not ripped, and it's really not any pressure here. You're just preventing it from dripping out under its own accord. So I'm just going to clean the surface here and bolt this one right back on. All right, other side pretty much the same thing, except we got a line here. It's what they call a pulse line. It comes from your crankcase of gases and makes pulses for the fuel pump. This one has a fuel tank under the seat, so it's got to be pumped up to the engine. And there comes the oil. A lot more oil on this side for unknown reasons. Catching it, don't worry. And let's see where these ones are at. This one's down right now, so we've got to spin the engine, of course. Now the top one's moving. Let's see. Nope, that one's still stuck. This one's got play. Turn the engine a little more. See where we're at. Moving the engine back and forth, nothing moving. Good. Yeah, this one seems to be pretty tight. This one, I'm just going to measure how much that is, just to kind of know how much we're making a difference here. Didn't measure the first one, probably should have, just for fun. That's 17th thou. It'll go, but it's not. That's not the one. Let's see. If I had to measure that, it's bigger than 12. 13 gives me a little drag. 14, 15. Yeah, it's like 15 or 16 thou right now, so they're way out of adjustment. And that's the exhaust valve, which is the one that would hold you up, because what's happening is the piston's coming up, that exhaust needs to get out of there, and it can't. It's running into a dead wall because this valve won't open quick enough, is why it's giving you the hard start. Or why I suspect this one is giving me the hard start. We'll know in just a minute, but judging by the fact that it's 3 times more clearance, it's supposed to be 5 on average, and I got 15. It's most likely the culprit. I'm just going to measure what we're at on the intake right now. Bigger than 8. Let's try 11. Probably bigger than 11. Yeah, we're like 11 to 12 thousandths on that one too. So these did need some adjustment for sure. What a weird size that is. It's not really half. It's not really a metric that I can see. Alright, I got my 5 thousandths feeler gauge back out. Let's crank this down till we get some actual resistance. Get close. Somewhere around there. Give it a little snug to center it up. Too tight. If I can get that to lock right there, I'm going to do it. I'm going to try to spin it a little more with the adjuster nut. See if it'll go. It's a hair on the loose side, but I'm going to leave it. Alright, next one. And this one's just that big because I loosened the nut. We saw the measurement. Tighten it about halfway. Let's see what we got. A little on the tight side, but I'll bet you if I tighten this, we're going to be right where we need to be. Because a lot of times that inner one moves just so slightly when you tighten it. Get my tool out of there so we get a real reading. And my tool, oh right, we made it tighter, not looser. It did what I thought, but the wrong way. See what we have there. Tools out. All of them. Way too loose. I kind of really like to get these right because there's no reason not to once you get the covers off. That's the hard part. And that's not even hard. Sometimes your tools hanging here could give it a false reading too, because your tools are making that go on an angle a little bit here. So I'm going to try to get the tools away, take the measurement. Too loose. Let me try that. I just really like to get these perfect. One thing to note on these twins, that's right where the oil will drip if you take the valve cover off. So the odds of you getting some smoke when you restart it are pretty good. It's harmless. It won't catch fire usually. I don't know, I guess if you had enough on there, maybe it could, but generally it just smokes for a minute. So let me get the tripod set up and we'll go for a restart and see if it starts any easier now. Alright, got you set up here. Let me go for a restart and see if it'll spin over any easier now. Start one, good. Start two, good. Alright, so that tells you that it's not always the battery, it's not always the starter. Sometimes a simple adjustment on the engine is all it needs, and that engine will run way cooler and be way happier now that those valves are adjusted properly, and you will have more power. Alright, if you like this, that one worked out for us today. If you like this video, please subscribe to the channel. Please share it with others if it can be helpful to anyone, and like it. And if you would, please consider becoming a Patreon so I can keep these videos going. Thank you.